Are you all sitting comfortable 2 square on your body? Then I'll begin.
Hi, this is Kenny Jones. I'm going to answer some of your questions about my time in the Small Faces. Do I still have any clobber from back in the Small Faces days? Yes, I've got some. I've got a couple of jackets. I've got a white suit that was made for me, and I've got a yellow jacket. I think the white suit's in the museum up in Liverpool. I lent it to them for about, well, if you want to see it, it's up there. So I can't remember what it's called though. It was a very exciting time, and we were all on an adventure, all of us, together. So we didn't know what was going to happen. It went so fast, you just went with the flow. So we didn't realise how. It was obviously exciting for us and everybody else around us, but we didn't know quite what the impact was going to be years and years later. So yeah, I'm very proud to be a part of the 60s. As far as Autumn Stone is concerned, we'll obviously be doing stuff, but Autumn Stone was basically a combination album, basically certain songs from our past. But obviously something will come up about the Autumn Stone album. But we are working on the entire catalogue of the Small Faces, and we are finding some gems. So watch this space. All of us had an influence on each other, because basically we were discovering ourselves. We all learned to play our own instruments around about the same time. So we all excited to play with each other. But Ronnie, as far as me as a drummer was concerned, he was a big influence on me anyway, because I loved his bass playing, and we just worked so well together, drummers and bass. Ronnie Lane, was he creating? No, we were all behind the scene because basically we were all in it together. So Ronnie wasn't sort of influencing us to go one direction or another. We just went there all together. Do I still keep in touch with Rick Wills? Yes, I do, funny enough. He's moved to America, moved to Florida now. But we did work together in the Jones Gang, me, Robert Hart and Rick Wills. We made a great album called Any Day Now, and we had a #1 single from that album in America called Angel. So yeah, we worked for quite some time. Yeah. Did I have any drumming lessons way back in when I first started? No, I didn't have any drum lessons. I was so eager to play, I just couldn't stop playing the drums in front of me. And I taught myself how to play. Mum and Dad, we only had 3 records in the house on an old one open top sort of record player. And I think one of them was 12 Street Rag, which was a bit jazzy, and the other one was Blue Moon, and the other one was the theme tune to Rawhide. The TV cowboy series. So I learned to play drums to those. And then I got proficient enough to then, I went to a record shop and the first album I bought was the Shadows album. And I fell in love with the Shadows. And I still love the Shadows to this day. So, I just played along with certain records. That was the reformation of the Small Faces back then, which I kind of regret really. I wish we'd never reformed. We should have reformed. It wasn't the same since. Steve was different. Ronnie Lane and Steve just didn't hit it off on our first get together. He just walked out. So much had changed, but we did soldier on, and we did a tour of Europe and stuff like that. But I really did enjoy it. I mean, the albums are okay, they're okay songs and stuff, but they're nothing. I think you've got to be a totally original band to actually, and be as one, to actually play as one. Yes, I do. I remember it. A maroon roll neck jumper, and I wore it until it dropped off me. It was lovely. Thank you, girls. Famous rock star I never met. It has to be Elvis Presley, and it's very unfortunate. When I was in the Faces, we all got a chance to go meet Elvis and see the show after we did a big stadium gig, and Rod and I decided to go home instead, back to LA, and the others stayed and went and met Elvis. So I regret that to this day. All I remember about the Marshall Stacks was we had to go down to the factory as a band and meet everyone there and just have a play with things, see if we liked them. And we got along so well with the owner and the people working at making the Marshall amps, and we're using them ever since. They were great. I still love Afterglow. I love the song. I still think it should be a single, and it's a very emotional song. The great lyrics, great performance by Steve, great performance by all of us actually. Yes, we are working all the time on our back catalogue, and myself and Rob Cager, we've found a load of stuff. In fact, we found a new track from Ogden's that was never put on there, so we're working on that particular one at the moment. And there are some gems in there. We've also, as we discover stuff, we put on, when we release another album, we try to put them on albums and use them as bonus tracks. So, and we keep finding bits and pieces all the time, so watch this space again. Fairies. Ogden's Nut Gone Flake, the storyline. Well, all I remember was Andrew Oldham from Media Records said, "You've dried up, guys. You need to keep writing songs." So, he said, "I've hired you all a boat each on the River Thames, and so you go away for the weekend and have some fun and write some songs." Well, we had a lot of fun. Mac was smashed into some guy's yacht. I smashed into an old disused destroyer. While people were having Sunday dinner, and I just ran to my face, went straight in the porthole like that. But I mean, this went on, and as we got towards the end of the weekend, we were suddenly realised we hadn't written anything. So we moored up alongside, lit a fire, and started to play acoustic guitar and just looking around. And I remember one of us, I can't remember who it was, we just looked up and saw only half the moon. So we had a big discussion, where's the other half the moon gone? So that's how it came about. Yes, the one I do have it, and it's one of my precious items. I never thought I'd see it again. I didn't know what happened to it. It was only apparently I'd given it to Ronnie Lane's best mate, who moved to Cornwall, kept it in a wardrobe, never did play them. When his son grew up and became a man and whatever, he called me up literally about 20 years ago and said, "Kenny," he said, "I've got my dad's drum kit, do you want it?" I said, "Yeah, great." So he said, "If you make a donation to the Ronnie Lane's multiple sclerosis charity, I'll bring it down, you can have it." I said, "Great, no problem." So when he came and arrived, he opened the van doors, and there I saw my drum kit for the very first time after all those years. I never thought I'd see it again, and there it was. I could not believe it. My knees went to jelly, and I've still got it to say. Every little bit, including the drumsticks, was still there. So I gave the drumsticks to his son. I said, "Look, give them back to your dad." Abrupt Stop. I can't remember it coming to Abrupt Stop. I loved playing Green Circles. It was at the time when I was doing lots of session work with different big bands and stuff like that. So I found myself doing all orchestral type fillings. And so when I heard Green Circles for the first time, just us running through on acoustic guitar, I thought, I know what I'm going to do on that. So I love the drumming on it. What's a mod?
Yeah.
Me? I'm a mod. A mod is a modern person. A mod is like all kids when they're, just barely teenagers or whatever, discovering each other for the first time. And for me, it was a very important time to be a mod because basically I grew up in black and white in the East End, London foggy town. You couldn't see a hand in front of your face. I mean, you really could. So, and everyone wore, even the old ladies wore, they looked like Greek women, just with sort of gowns which are all just black. So, and they all looked like nuns. So, a very black and white time for me. So when I did see some colour, I remember seeing a bright red jumper in Aldgate in the shop where the Grey Twins used to buy their stuff. And I bought that. So I had to save up money for it. I think it was £30, which is a lot of money then. I went and bought it, put it on, and loved it. And I found myself some white Levi's, and that was it. I was a mod. So I think about that. I think, to be honest, all the gigs we played were really special anyway. But one of the most frightening ones was when we played Berlin. And Steve, we were late because the flight was due late. So the audience weren't very happy with us. And then Steve started introduced us all as war criminals. And he introduced me as Hermann Göring on drums. And I just put the cymbals up to stop people throwing things at me. The Smallfakers are a nice bunch of guys, really, and it's uncanny how the lead singer looks just like Steve Marriott. I can't believe it, and I'm honoured. I'm I just feel they're a nice bunch of guys, and they're honouring our past. And I'm glad they like us, and they seem to be doing a good job of what they're doing. It was very personal to me because, hello Mr Jones, that's your birth lumbago. My aunt and my uncle, can't think of his fucking name. My aunt and my uncle lived there, and that was my Uncle Bert, and he had lumbago. So, hello Mr Jones, that's your birth lumbago. Because that's what my mum used to say to him all the time. Yeah, it was filmed down my street, outside my front door, and we had an actress play the lady who opened the door, and then in the back garden we had an outside loo at that time, all those years back, so that's when you see Steve walking down my garden. Peter Frampton nearly came close to being a member of the band because, I mean, Glyn Johns, our record producer at the time, was working with Johnny Holiday in Paris and asked us as the Smallfaces to play on his record and invited Peter Frampton as well. And we got along so well with Peter anyway, we knew Peter anyway. And he was the same size as us and fitted in quite nicely. And I think it would have been great if he'd joined personally, but I don't think Mac and Ronnie were not that happy about it because basically they felt we had a good enough singer anyway. So, but Peter would have been great. No, the songwriting credits that Steve and Ronnie had were really the songs they both deserved, and the credits they both deserved, because they wrote songs together, and on the odd one, maybe two, I don't know, there might have been something like that, but I don't think it was like that. They shared most of their songwriting because they worked on the songs together. throwing Ronnie out of the house. I don't remember Steve throwing Ronnie out of the house anywhere, to be honest. I have no idea what Andrew Oldham's doing. I mean, I know he lives in Colombia, and I don't know what. I'm sure that people had to fight for their royalties at some point, like everything in the 60s. And I don't know whether he's paying people. He should be. Ah, my favourite crocodiles. Yes, they were quite scary. We went out on a photo session because Don Arden was always dreaming up some kind of publicity stunt. So we found ourselves one day dressed in our suits, all the same, and it was in Knightsbridge. And suddenly they brought out all these little baby crocodiles, which were quite scary because they really could bite you. And so yeah, no, we had some fun with those. All of them, they were all great, all funny. We all got along with each other quite well, funny enough. Mac and I were quite close. But I was close to everyone anyway. My favourite road story is when we were finished on the road, coming home. We were travelling up north somewhere to probably play in Sheffield or something like that. And my birthday was literally on that day when we were travelling up there. And we had a road manager called Bill Corby, who drove us in a Mark 10 Jag. And he suddenly stopped the Jag and said, I've seen something in the road. We stopped and we had a look around, nothing's there. So we had a look over the side and we saw this long sort of brown paper bag. And we thought, everyone was saying, oh, it's someone's arm, it's a dead arm or something like that. So we were messing about that. And they said, Kenny, you go and open it. I said, well, I'm not going to bloody open a dead arm package, you know. So anyway, I opened it up and it was a Rogers drum pedal. They'd all bought me. So yeah, nice. Practical jokes. I think we all played practical jokes on each other, basically. And a great deal of fun doing it. I think Steve was pretty good at it because he was a bit of a piss taker as well. So, and don't forget, he was the first Artful Dodger, and he played, you know, in the West End show. So he was an Artful Dodger. He taught us how to be all Artful Dodgers. We should have called ourselves the Artful Dodgers. That would have been great. The Beatles. We did Wembley Stadium. We played before the Beatles went up. Not the stadium, the arena. And we used to do these tours, these package tours. And Roy Orbison was on one, the Hollies. We all become great friends and stuff like that. So he had a few, you know. I mean, I think he had. I think he had about 2 or 3 different ones, but I think he had a couple of harmony ones. I don't know. I know I did. No, I nicked one. When I was 11 years old, me and my mates nicked a Lambretta in Stepney, and we discovered it had a broken clutch. So we repaired the clutch, and we chromed the side. But mate of mine worked in an iron foundry, and he chromed the side bubbles on it. And then the police caught us all. Yeah, that's another story when the police caught us. But yeah, so when the guy got his motorbike back, this old boy, he got it back in the better condition than when it was stolen. We broke up because basically we were all fed up with this teeny bopper image. We just couldn't lose it no matter what we did, what we tried. And so it was kind of, we wanted people to take us seriously as musicians, not a commercial sort of band. commercial singles all the time. And so, I mean, it got to us all, but one night we were playing Alexandra Palace on New Year's Eve, and Steve just threw the guitar down halfway through the show, walked off stage and said, "I've had enough of this." And that was that, left us all there. Oh, well, we used to listen to lots of great songs. We all like John Lee Hooker. Funny enough, we all like Ray Charles. Really great. And Jimmy McGriff, Booker T and the MGs. That sort of flavour. That's what we love. My drumming influences when I first started was Buddy Rich, but also the ones that I relate to more modern-wise was Brian Bennett from the Shadows. He just joined the Shadows, and he's still a friend of mine to this day. So I loved his drumming, a big influence on it, and Bobby Elliott from the Hollies. I loved him. He was a great drummer. My favourite Small Faces song is all of them. I can't really choose one because they're all great. I mean, I love Ogden's Nut Gone Flake, actually, the actual instrumental. It brings in the whole album. Tin Soldier, obviously, because everyone loves Tin Soldier. There's a few, actually, all of them. I think if we'd have toured America, yes, it was upsetting at the time, but if we'd have gone to America, I think we'd have cracked it. I think it would have held us together. We would never have split up. My favourite moment while I was in the Small Faces was because we were only together for around about 4 years, funny enough, 5 years maximum, and so all memories were very. All of them were great, to be honest. I mean, especially touring Europe and Germany, well, everywhere. Went to every Sweden, Helsinki, you know, loads of places. It was kind of a very exciting time because basically we were, Steve and Ronnie were writing around the storyline that was created by ourselves. I remember having to hum the title track because I couldn't play guitar. Hum the title track to Steve and Ronnie and the rest of the band, and that's how we came up with Ogden's Nut Gone Flake. So we all shared that even though it was my idea, my riff, we all shared the writing on that. Yes, I was with Mac when we went to the Stax review. Yeah, it was a great concert. Yes, I do remember lots of it. It's in my book, Let the Good Times Roll. Yeah, get my book, have a read it. It's all in the book. It takes too long to tell you. Steve Marriott was a great, good and bad guy. You know, he's very fun to be with and kind of embarrassing sometimes because it was forever taking the piss out of people and blowing raspberries behind the director's back and stuff like that. So, yeah, great fun. I'd say songs. I mean, I like Ogden's Nut Gone. I like all the drumming I did on Ogden's Nut Gone Flake. Here Come the Nights, I liked, and Tin Soldier, very much a similar vein. A song we wrote for P.B. Arnold, which we all played on, If You Think You're Groovy. There you go. We didn't hate the song Itchy Park. We just it was put out without us knowing about it. We were in Germany at the time, and we read it in a Melody Maker, which we bought in Germany, and we read it in the charts. It was a hit. And we only did it for a bit of fun, not to be put out as another bloody single. No, I don't think the Flower Power split us up. Like I said earlier, it was basically, we just couldn't lose that teeny bopper image, no matter what we did. Well, basically, we were mods without knowing we were mods. We were creating the style and everything, because it was our own influence at the time. We influenced each other. Who wrote Just Passing? Ronnie Lane. Happiness Stand. Well, I'm putting together a full-length animation film of Alder's Nut on Flake, and the character who plays Happiness Stand and goes in search of the other half of the moon is a big surprise. Not the voice, but I haven't chosen the voice yet. But the look is fantastic. Got it all. Watch the space.
And so